afternoon, Chairperson, honorable members and colleagues. I have a few apologies from my side. It's Honorable Ingcugce and Honorable E.B. Khoza. He has a clash with another committee. Honorable W.L. Ingcugce, however, he has sent an alternate Honorable G.V. Zuma. And then it's Honorable S.M.M. Ingcugce, and she has sent an alternate Honorable Sangweni. Those are the apologies I received today for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam HOD.
Greetings, Honorable Chair, Honorable MEC, members of the portfolio, colleagues. We have 3 apologies from the members of ESCO. TTG Pengu is on leave. Ms. Anderson, she attended Job Summit. Mr. Khoza is on other work commitment. Lastly, Chair, I would like to introduce a director in my office, Mrs. Luthuli, who will be linking with Ubaba Mdluli time to time. Yes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, HOD. Any other apologies, colleagues? None. Okay, can we move for the adoption of the agenda?
Chair,
sorry, colleagues. I think the agenda that is before me is slightly different. Okay, my apologies. I've been given the amended version, which is the one on the screen. Before we move for the adoption of the agenda, can we check for the constitution of the meeting, the quorum? Mdluli, if you can advise.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable MEC online, Honorable members, esteemed colleagues, led by HOD Mbili. Honorable Chairperson, we have a total of 9 honorable members, including those that are online. Therefore, the meeting is correct in terms of the threshold required. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Mdluli. Can we then move for the adoption of the agenda, honorable members? Honorable Masigo.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good afternoon to your good self, Honorable members, the MEC, HOD, and the entire team from the department, colleagues. I move for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Masigo. Honorable Lijet.
good afternoon, Chairperson, and to all colleagues in the department. I second the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. The agenda has been duly adopted. At this point, I would like to invite the Honorable MEC Mtombeni to offer us his remarks before we move to the reports by the department. Mtombeni.
Let me greet your good self, Doc Manzo Mkulu, the chair of the portfolio committee, the entire members of the portfolio in our midst. We also are accompanied by the HOD Mbili and his team. I do want to greet the technocrats that are also on this platform. If you can allow me, because of the bandwidth, Chair, if I could switch off, but if you don't have a problem, or if you do, I'll proceed. So if I can just ascertain that first before one proceed further.
No problem, Honorable MEC.
No. Thank you so much, Lucas. I do want to thank the Portfolio Committee of the delegates and the role that have played towards ensuring that the oversight is something that is impeccable for all of us. It has been done, and we've been always on our toes. Just a week ago, Honorable Chair, the portfolio, we visited Ward 9 at Umshwati, the area called Trustfit, which is the place, as you know, that Umgungundlovu and Umshwati is amongst other areas that has been affected by disaster as well. The minister came last year and we agreed upon that. Let us strategize. And indeed, the project has started. Currently, you do have the units that have been finished, 500 of them, and we're able to allocate 27 to the military veterans in the area. It went well. So I do just want to highlight and the issue of DMV, which is the issue of military veterans. We've been having a problem on the issue of identification. So there were two ministers, Minister responsible for human settlements, Minister Thembi Similan, accompanied by the minister who's responsible for defense in the country, and military vets, Minister Ingcugce. So they were delighted on the quality that has been delivered on the ground. As we speak already, the veterans have moved in the area. There are other veterans that are supposed to be moving from Aloe in Pietermaritzburg to Umshwati. Unfortunately, they've not done a great job when it comes to that for different reasons. I do want to highlight, Chair, that we are worried a bit that after delivering the quality work, others still feel befitting that they are able to sell these units. And for us, it's something that is a legacy project that must be managed and in a manner that is critical for the country just like us, because we know what it means to have a place, although yes, without a shelter, but others will still find it bad at the end of the day when they've been given this. Then they don't make others inherit it. Instead, they sell it. And we have agreed upon as the level of police that even if it means that you've received 100,000 or 50,000, it doesn't matter the amounts. We're not going to grant you a title deed, because at least for us, you still require the master's office, and we're clear that we can only give to the beneficiaries. Our ISDP are not for sale, so I just wanted to highlight that. We then held and launched with those ministers. From there, we visited the Conopia. We promised those 131 units. I could just safely say that they are dealing with the last leg of completing those. They will be ready by May, that we can launch that, and we wanted to invite the president because, as you know, that Conopia remains a catalytic project which embraces the stream that those who are coming from the middle class are able to be part and parcel using the system of government and that bonding system. And those who can't afford, who are regarded as have not, are also going to benefit. And it's closer to Econobia Mall, it's closer to Gateway Mall. So it's another success story that a lot of families who were defeated or were affected by the disasters are going to benefit. And we have finalized the list. And we, almost 3 weeks ago, we visited Mpangeni, another catalytic project as well, Chair, as part of Siahlola. I think the project is slowly coming well, and the processes and the quality have been delivered on the ground. It's another catalytic project because it will be composed of most from LSM, high LSM and the low LSM. So I think we do want to highlight those. We do have some challenges on the ground, as you might know, Honorable Chair, that we'll start a project and you'll find and hear when the process is giving the report the feedback, because the Chair wrote a letter which is critical. Chair, the issue of the spluma is something of yesterday. We didn't have the spluma. The issue of planning pattern between three spheres, it's something that is new, which is why it's better that we have DDM now. It's better that at least the issue of spatial planning is well known within all the municipalities. Historically, you will find that we will plan as the province, because I wouldn't want to say that we've been 100% clear all the time. Remember, some of these issues are historical. You will find that the province, during the era in particular when it was regarded as housing, they might identify an area from a face value which will seem that it's okay, it's cohabitable, or it's conducive that inhabitants and human beings could live there. But on the ground, after serious pegging and surveying, the reality will find that the issues or the area is disaster prone, or the issue, even the services are not going to be done at the end, like water, like electricity, which is the competence and the role played by the municipality. Then the project will then be stalled. And Uche has also even assisted us on the issue of Mnambiti, in particular, the local municipality, Alfred Duma. There was some sort of back and forth between the department and the local municipality because they were supposed to be delivering services on the project. Unfortunately, they were not willing, which is something that is compromising the outlook. The issue of Thubalethu, we might also just highlight that in particular, you'll find that the planning pattern was poor between the province, which is ourselves, and the local municipality, because you'll find that you'll finalize the project, but concretely, there are no access roads at the end, and then there is no water and the source closer to the process, which then going to cause a problem. We are dealing with such matters, and fortunately for us, it is no longer going to happen in the future, because before a business plan or I could sign the business plan, one is always checking, do we have adequate budget? Is the expenditure pattern traceable when it comes to all these processes? If we don't have budget, we can't then approve the business plan, because it's unfair that you go in the area, promise that you'll give them probably 1,000 units, but we don't have a budget. And on the same breathalyzer process, you'll find that on the ground, the municipality is not ready, because that's what is also compromising our processes. You'll find that even on the issue of INEP, even the issue of certain grants, you might find that you'll finalize all the units. At the end of the day, you find that the municipality was not ready. There's no water, there's no storm water system, there's no electricity in the area. Then people are not going to be willing to move in those areas. And it's taking place across the board. And it's something that at this point in time, we are saying that we want to present it as it is, because there is a feedback that is coming from us. We do take into cognizance the chair is also worried on the technical outlook and the framework from national. It is something that we must comply, but on our side, we are still clinical on the benchmark that we still want to proceed and finish all the tasks that has been given to us. We were fortunate, Chair, that we received more additional funding from national, because we were the province in terms of unit that was able to produce more, which is why the minister vehemently agreed with us and gave us more. But we still have a problem in ensuring that we fast track all the problem, even in the municipality, big as Metro, big as secondary cities, Yomsunduzi, your Renkonyeni, Yomhlathuze, from time to time, your KwaDukuza, they do give us a problem, and it's something that we are dealing with it on a regular basis. But in terms of our lines, they are open enough in ensuring that we do consolidate a strategy. Almost 2 months ago, there was an innovative building technology summit, which was held for the first time in the country, was addressed by the president, hosted by Human Settlements, which means that there is a new inventory of the system that is going to be resilient and ensuring that they adapt towards the global warming processes. Although the issue of quantum value might still be something that we are going to present at the right time, but that process is ongoing. There are different pilot projects that we are going to see in the future, Honorable Chair and the team. And at the right time, we are still going to host ours this year as well, where we are also going to attract the tertiary institutions in our province and those who are equipped enough to do this process so that we do our exhibition. By the time there is an issue of rolling strategy, then it will be well known by almost every one of us. Those are the issues, Chair, that we thought that at this point in time, we do want to thank God that the rain was not hazardous or bad enough that we are able to accommodate, because the history of Montlake at eThekwini is well known by now. I'm sure we always drill that point that 70% of informal settlements is found at eThekwini. If you could address eThekwini, you would have delved deeper enough in resolving those matters, but we are still highlighting and in our planning pattern, and we are working with traditional leadership. It's something that we are dealing with that process, and fortunately there is an understanding between us and Amakhosi, and there is a serious improvement on the ground, Chair, and we do want to thank the role that as we also do our Siyahlola, the portfolio committee is also visiting different areas which then complement and augur on the system of ensuring that there is no stone left unturned in us delivering for the goodwill of our people in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And I do want to land, Chair, by ensuring that at this point in time, the issue of VAT, because we have not highlighted enough thorough to the portfolio committee that we are glad that we received unqualified audit opinion as a province. There is an issue of how the issue of VAT is done at the level of SARS and at the level of Auditor General South Africa, and the understanding it almost compromises us as the province, and it's taking place across the board. At least at the end, they were able to listen and agreed with our presentation, but it's something that the portfolio committee must also understand, because it's something that is tedious in an approach or how the framework is done and is designed. And in terms of accounting practices, we are also duty bound to report or give feedback to the portfolio committee so that it is understandable. So in terms of doing the issue of payment, 30-day cycle, I think we are doing well, Chair. And doing well means that we don't have we don't have ample space of doing other things, because we don't have serious budget as this department. So it means that we've just agreed that while you'll say that instead of building more units, we build less, it is always guided by what we have within our coffers. So that is why that you'll find that we'll guide the construction company or service provider that instead of delivering probably 100 a month, why don't you do 20, you stretch it like that so that at least we're able to maintain, because once we have reached our 100% target in terms of money, we just close it there. We don't want a lot of output, but lesser payment on the cycle. So we're doing a great job. I just wanted to highlight those few matters, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, for those remarks. At this point, I will then invite the HOD to lead on the 4 reports that will be presented by the department. Thereafter, we'll then invite the honorable members to engage the reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Mr. Makakula will take us through all 4 reports. Thank you. Through you, Chair, Mr. Makakula.
Thank you very much. Am I audible? Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much, Chairperson, Dr. Biela, the Honorable MEC, the honorable members present today, the HOD as our accounting officer, the colleagues from both the legislature and the department, I greet you all. I will take you through the first report, which is the overall projects on housing. I think you can flight the one that says projects. Projects, can you? It says projects for human settlements programs.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm requesting that maybe we should proceed because we do have the presentations on as well as the team. Oh, we found, but it's still not the presentation.
Colleagues, while they try to find the presentation so that they can flight for everyone to see, the presentations were emailed to all the members of the portfolio. And the colleagues who are physically present also have the printed version. So you can refer to the email or the printed version while they try to flight the presentation. You may proceed, Bab Makakul.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will take you through to slide 2, which is the table of content. I will summarize, Chairperson, the expenditure on 25-26 financial year. I will also deal with the expenditure and on the HSDG and the ISUPG grants. These are both grants that we are using as the department to deal with the infrastructure. The non-financials for the year 25-26, the Human Settlements Development Grant Business Plan, the 27 Informal Settlements Upgrading Business Plan, the Program 3 Annual Performance Plan, the list of projects under implementation in the department, and Program 3 expenditure thus far. The purpose is therefore to brief the honorable members on the projects that we are dealing with and the financial implications that we have in the 25-26 financial year and that of the 26-27 financial year. Then slide 4, we are just dealing with the overview of as of 31 March, the overview of our grant, that in total our grant was 3.1 billion rands, and what was spent after getting the 100 million rands, which the MEC alluded to, it's 3.2 billion rands. And if you can look at the summation of this table, it concludes that all our grants were spent at 100%, including the additional 100 million that was received for the province. In the next slide, slide 5, we are dealing with the budget for human settlements projects. 2.1 billion rands was made available for the financial year, which has ended by 31st of March. 2.1 billion was made intended to be spent. An amount of 2.285,167,475,000 rands was spent. That was actually an over expenditure of about 140 million rands. I will not take you through per district, but the districts are also aligned there to say what was the projection for each district and what was the expenditure for each district. Where it is a negative, it is an indication of an over expenditure in those districts, which yielded more sites and more services for us. The next grant is the Informal Settlements Upgrading Grant, which is also the progress as of 31 March 2026, which is for the previous financial year. In this grant for the projects under the installation of services, an amount of 126 million rands was made available. An amount of 153 million rands was paid. That cost an overpayment of 26 million rands, 373,490 and 456. I am also not going to deal with the district individually, but it is the similar principle that I have alluded to earlier. The districts that were providing us with services are also listed there, and those districts and their expenditure is also listed. The next slide, which is slide 7, deals with what did we buy out of all these monies that I was speaking to. In the previous financial year, we were supposed to build 8,506 units. With the limited resources that we had, we built 9,327 units. This is just being finalized in terms of verification. In terms of first home finance sites, we were meant to deliver 300 units. We delivered 314 units. In terms of servicing the sites, we were meant to deliver 2,142 sites. We delivered 2,382 sites. In terms of military veterans, what we have confirmed so far is we were meant to deliver 50. So far, we have confirmed 60 sites that have been delivered. We are still, therefore, verifying this figure. It should go up to 73 in total once the whole verification is finalized. In terms of the rectification, we were meant to rectify 411 houses. 833 houses were delivered. In terms of title deeds, we were meant to deliver 2,481, 2,183 were delivered with a shortfall of almost 300, 298. In the current financial year of 2026-2027, we have a budget for human settlements programs totaling up to 2.4 billion rands. They are classified then for sites. It is 181 sites and almost 64 million rands is budgeted for. For units, you can see the number has dropped. It is 7,887 at 1.9 billion. Title deeds, it's 1,472. 6 million rands has been reserved. Then there are professional fees. There is also money that is linked for bulk services. There is also other. The other is linked to a home NHBRC enrollments, enhanced extended discount benefit scheme, state agent maintenance, the state assets maintenance, and social amenities. I will not take you through everything, but also includes OPSCAP, which is the operational capital budget for professional services, municipal accreditation, emergency housing assistance, and institutional subsidies. These are this is what the money is meant to buy. In terms of sites, in the UISP development grant, we will be spending approximately 2,390 sites that will be building at 874 million rands, and the districts are listed there and the amount that are linked to each one. Chair, I will not take you through slide 10, which is just basically what each type of unit or type of housing will be delivered. That includes rural, the combination. It's all our APP targets that are linked to the budget, including title deeds, military veterans, IRDP, and etc. So that is those are the figures that we will be working towards. On the next slide, which is slide 12, Chair, I wish not to take you through the details of this slide, but it is the projects that are at implementation. These are projects throughout each district. I will just maybe highlight the first one, which is Amajuba in Danhausa. We've got a Danhausa Stage 3 housing project where we intend to build. If you look far right on the four columns, you can see that the sites that we are building there is 0. We are actually anticipating to do 140 units. We are also anticipating to transfer 200 sites to the beneficiaries. If you look throughout the project or throughout the list, these are then the projects that are at implementation that we intend to deliver on in this financial year. Chair, it will be Amajuba as the first one, eThekwini the second one, which is from slide 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Then slide 18, we have got, we're starting there with Herikwala and the projects that are in Herikwala. There is a little bit of 2 or so from eThekwini as well, but mainly starting with Herikwala. The first project there is Amanzi Amnyama. 47 units are meant to be delivered. There is 99 million rands that has been made available. Chair, I will also go to slide 19. It's still under Herikwala. Slide 20, Herikwala. Then we are now starting in Ilembe in slide 21. These are also the projects. I'm not going to go through the similar reading of the project, but I will just highlight that these are just the projects that the department is working on throughout the province, all until slide I think 42, if not mistaken. Yes, until slide 42, which ends with the Zululand or the projects that are in Zululand. So in all the districts, those are the projects that we anticipate to deliver on the informal settlements grant. We also have provided, and on slide 44, the projects that we intend to deliver on, the main one being JPC and the similar modus operandi in terms of the site writing there, the columns. We intend to deliver for 481 sites at 40 million rands. Amajuba as well is also JPC. It's different K numbers. There is also 242 sites that will be delivered at 20 million rands. And then in all the other districts where the sites are registered, you can see there are plenty that are in KwaZulu-Natal, which has got a number of projects where the projects are at the construction of sites, and then few in Ingcugce and Thubalethu chairperson. In terms of the expenditure so far, we have started to spend on this on the HSDG. We have thus far only recorded what has been paid. So far, there are invoices that we are not talking to in the next slide, which is slide 46. I think that belongs to the projects that are also in, I think the projects that are in slide 40, sorry, I'm going backwards here, or in slide 48, chairperson, it is the combination of those grants making 1.9 billion rands and the expenditure that is already earmarked in this first month, and that in total the 42 million rands has been spent with a balance so far of 1.8 billion rands, taking us forward for the financial year. Chairperson, also to note is that if you have looked carefully at what we wanted to deliver, we want to deliver about 150 projects per 150 units per project, but unfortunately the budget is not allowing us to do that, and so therefore we are limiting the new projects, and therefore we will not be taking new projects in order to ensure that the projects that are in construction are viable. Let me stop there, chairperson, as the first report. The second report is Thubalethu. On slide 2, I've got the outline of what is the data I'll be talking to. I'll be talking to the resolutions of the previous meetings, and I will also talk on the progress that we have had so far. Slide 3 deals with the resolutions of the previous meeting, where we needed to look at the Department of Transport response on the matter of the bridge or on the crossing, or of slowing down the traffic. We also looked at the issue of upgrading the internal services or the internal roads, the status on the EIA. The next slide is then dealing with the upgrading on the treatment plant by the KCDM, that they need to convert the solid and increase capacity of the sewer system from the septic tanks to the water pond. The construction is already at 65%. We anticipate that by June this will be completed. In terms of the internal services as well, which is actually undertaken by Umthonjaneni municipality. The phase 2 was discussed earlier. The phase 1 was discussed and it is complete. The phase 2 is anticipated also to be completed in May 2026. There is some progress there, and the progress is now 80% of the internal services. In the next slide, which is slide 5, the approval by the DOT on the road crossing or steel pipe on the bridge, and that has been actually achieved. In March, it was achieved, and what is now being done is to finalize the design, and that the approval has been given to the consultant working for the KCDM, and that has been given from the Department of Transport, and the construction is therefore, they are finalizing the design so that they can then start with that. In the next slide, with the environmental impact assessment, this was also achieved in March, and the designs have also been, they are nearing completion in terms of finalizing the designs, and therefore we anticipate that in May we are starting with our first initial meeting so that the contractor can then set up on site. Chairperson, when we look at the next slide, we're dealing with the refurbishment of the existing treatment works. And a tender in this regard will be going out in the month of May, in the second week, which it is actually managed as well by the KCDM, which is then looking at the refurbishment of the existing and actually increasing capacity, which will be a long-lasting solution for the sewage in terms of this municipality. Chairperson, I would also like to stop there, and I'm submitting this report for noting to the members. Slide 8 is my last slide on the matter. I will request to go to the next one, Chairperson. Stalled projects. Chairperson, we dealt with this item before. I would like to take you to the 16 projects that we dealt with in the past and give feedback on what has then transpired so far. If the chairperson can allow me to take the members to a slide, I think it's slide 60, where we're giving a summation of all the projects. The members will recall that we had discussed it in the past that we have about 16 projects that are blocked.
Sorry to interject. For the benefit of the honorable members, which slide are you on?
I'm going to slide 65, Chairperson.
16.
65.
65.
Yes, I will
Okay.
tell you why.
Mm.
I'm going to slide 65 because that is a summary of all the projects. Instead of going to each and every project, we have summarized the we have summarized the interventions required per project.
No. You can go ahead and present. I just wanted to locate where you were.
Yes.
Thank you.
Chairperson, in terms of the 16 projects, I have listed all of them there. The first slide there that I'm looking at, slide 65, is dealing with the first 8. These are the projects that will be unblocked through the intervention of the department. And the intervention of the department means that there is something that we as the department can do. As these projects were blocked for a long period of time, we needed to, we dealt with the reasons for each blockage as to say why the project was blocked. We also dealt with the interventions that were required. We also dealt with the progress or the status so far. So far, maybe I will deal with Chief Albert Iltuli. The blockage there was mainly on the poor performance of the previous service provider who also abandoned the site. We then were supposed to put as an intervention the project in the business plan because we could not implement anything going forward in terms of the Division of Revenue Act. We are no longer allowed to spend money on a project that is not in the business plan. So the business plan, we had a target there of putting everything in the business plan in March. So the project is now in the business plan. The department is finalizing the SCM processes. The SCM processes, we are working on a panel of service providers. We anticipate that in July we will have finished with the panel of service providers, and then in August, then we do a procurement of the service provider. That is going for Etafeni. The MEC has also approved the resuscitation of this project. It was the similar issues and the similar time frames we have put in there. Altonville, it's also the similar challenges, and the Honorable MEC has also approved the resuscitation of the project. So Crowdville has also been a bilateral was signed with the municipality. The municipality is undertaking this process, the procurement of the contractor. I must say here the municipality is procuring the contractor, and there is an existing project manager who was unable to continue with construction. So then the municipality took over the procurement of the contractor, and the current implementing agent will deal with the project management matters. That goes for Crowdville Priority 2 and Priority 5. The municipality has given an assurance that by July they would have concluded the procurement. We anticipated that they will actually complete this earlier, but unfortunately the municipality indicated that they had challenges. They are unable to complete these projects, the procurement in time, and so they have given us a revised date of July. Bozamo, it's also the procurement will be through us, and therefore the database will be up and running in August. And so we anticipate that we will then be able to procure the service provider by then. But the Honorable MEC has also provided his blessing in the resuscitation of the project. That goes for Mhlana Masakane as well. We anticipate that we will be on the ground in October. Umzinto slump, Umzinto, we anticipate that because this is done by the district, it will be resolved in the next financial year. The service providers are on the ground trying to install the bulk services, the water supply and the treatment works on this project. In terms of Sakamkhanya, which is slide 66, we also have the blessing of the MEC there. We have given the procurement to NHBRC to undertake the assessment of the units so that we can then go to site and rehabilitate and give us a report on what needs to be done. So the information has been provided to NHBRC. We anticipate that they will be on the ground in the next month to conclude the project, their procurement in the next month, and so that they can be on the ground. So the funds here will be coming from OPSCAP, which I have already dealt with earlier. Rocky Park is still a challenge. The court matter is still not. The court has granted the municipality permission to profile. The municipality has then not finalized this profiling. Charlestown, it's the municipality. It's responsible for the bulks in this municipality, which was the reason for the blockage. The bulk services. The municipality made application to the Department of Water and Forestry, so they have then given an amount of 35 million to unblock the project, and the municipality is busy with the designs. In Khayelitsha, Sidara, a CREC team has been appointed by the HOD. Unfortunately, these will require some time, and there is a lot of money that is required by the district in order to be able to unblock these two projects. Thubalethu, there are issues of 200 sites that were developed there, and there are people who didn't want to take over the sites. So the only possible solution is to replan where the people are, and then actually close this first interim project out in order to plan for people where they are, since they didn't want to take occupation of the houses on the planned area. Ngotshane, we have a problem there in Upongolo. There are 88 sites that were not developed, and they are based on them two issues, which is the rising main, and the second one, which is also the invasion of the land. The municipality is also looking for the land where they can build, because I think the community there just grabbed the land, and then the municipality was unable to take them off the land. And then there is also Mbazwana in Umhlabiyalingana, where we have approved the rectification, but the initial meeting deduced that the people who are original beneficiaries are no longer living in this project area, and it will therefore require at some point that we finalize the technical side, and then if the social side is unable to be clarified, then we will be able to close the project. NHBRC has conducted the assessment on this project. Thank you, Chairperson and the honorable members. If I can be allowed to go to the next project. Aloe Ridge, honorable members, on Aloe Ridge, I will give the slide 2 will deal with the background. It deals with the table of content on what is contained in the document, the status, the summary of Aloe Ridge report. The summary of Aloe Ridge report, excuse me. On the background, it is worth noting that the department, there were 262 flats that were illegally occupied by the military veterans, together with the associates of the military veterans, as they call themselves. There was then a court order that was given on the 25th of February 2021 in the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. Then the then minister intervened, which was the Minister of Human Settlements, Water and Sanitation, Ms. L. Sisulu. Intervened. He came to the province in Msunduzi on the 1st of February to discuss the invasion. The capital city wanted to invoke the eviction order of the High Court, and then by 31st of July 2021, there were complaints, and then the Minister of Human Settlements, which is now the erstwhile Mrs. Kubai, came to the province in December 2012 and made an arrangement in the next slide 4, of saying that let us profile all the beneficiaries in the Aloe Ridge that had occupied Aloe Ridge. And then she made an offer that we should be able to pay for the beneficiaries who are deserving to receive a house, and those that are non-bona fide veterans, they must also be in a position to get at least a house. We must then not evict anyone who qualifies. So the purpose of the profiling was to ensure that one is living in Aloe Ridge, which group will they belong to, whether they will belong to the military veterans or whether they will belong to the ordinary citizens who call themselves associates of the military veterans. The department, together with the Ingcugce local municipalities, in this case, which is Umsunduzi and Umshwati, approved a number of projects to look into the matter. The following projects were approved: Cobbsville Military Veteran Housing Project, Itindale CC and Sinating Housing Project, Itindale Q section, which is also in Msunduzi, Glenwood Housing Project, Umshwati 30 OSS, which I think the MEC spoke to earlier on, which is also the project that was earmarked to help the people who were invading or who had invaded the project. The next slide, Chairperson, deals with the profiling on the profile of the whole Umshwati Ridge, to say what are the issues that were found when we dealt with the matter. Only 234 people or beneficiaries came forward for profiling, even when we set a help desk there, and there were 28 that never showed up. And even when we knocked on their doors, and at some point we found 2 or so, they said no, they shouldn't form part of the profiling because they had their own agreement with capital city. Then the approved beneficiaries out of the 234. We found 167 beneficiaries who were deserving. Out of the 167, there is also a breakdown in terms of who are they. They are 33 of them are people who are military veterans who deserve to get a house on the 50 square meter top structure, and 134 of them were the people who were ordinary citizens or civilians who deserves to get a house on a 40 square meter top structures. We also found that there were people who were owning RDP houses in the area who were already living there. We then dealt with those that were declined. We also there were some that were deceased, but they had their beneficiaries or their offsprings living in the houses. Then there were also issues of double counting in the court document that we had. In the next slide, it's also a summary just of the synopsis of what this Aloe Ridge now looks like. We are dealing with the 167 beneficiaries. Those that needed to bring back the keys, they were 79. Based on the houses that we have handed over in Umshwati, 13 of them are from Aloe Ridge. We have also built houses under Glenwood Q section, 18 of them, and 8 of them are bona fide military veterans, and 10 are non-bona fide military veterans. In Cobbsville, we approved a project for 20 units there. Only 6 military veterans were prepared to go and take up those houses. So that project has been built and finished. Then the remaining number is for both, which is 40 square meter and 50 square meter, 40 and 50 square meter. We are now dealing with 152 beneficiaries that we anticipate to have their houses finished and built by the next financial year, as we are busy on the ground. The next slide deals with the projects that are that we are dealing with in order to finish the 156 units. We have Umshwati, which we have dealt with. There are 26 units which have been completed. I have also mentioned that 13 of them are from Aloe Ridge. We have Sinating, which is in construction. The infrastructure is being delivered. The project has got 111 sites earmarked for human settlements. It's 100 sites. Of those, 80 beneficiaries will be coming from Aloe Ridge. So it is now starting to eat up on the 156 beneficiaries, which I spoke to earlier. And we have it in the LCC, and both it in the LCC have got one contract with one service provider, which is Skip Engineering. It in the LQ section, we have a project there in the LQ section has got 284 sites. We must mention to the honorable members that the communities in Pietermaritzburg wants you to build one house for the community and one house for the people of Aloe Ridge or anyone or military veterans, as these people do not necessarily come from that ward or that project area. So therefore they are demanding that you can't just build for military veterans or for people in Aloe Ridge without giving them something. So we have then discussed with the community in this area. We have then received a concurrence with the community to build 52 units. Then we also have Cobsville, which has been completed. I dealt with it earlier. And then we also have another Glenwood Q section to deal with 30 beneficiaries under 40 square meter, 30 that will be rectification, 20 that will be 50 square meter top structures. That is where we have built the 18 units, and we have challenges for now because the communities said if we had money, even though we're getting money from Italy in this side, they said, no, you must build for us first before you build. You must put one for this side for military veterans, then you put one for the community this side. Chairperson, the next slide, which is slide 10, it's mainly the detailed information on these projects. I have already alluded to the summary of them. The members are at liberty to go through them. The amount, which is 10 million for Umshwati and etc., the ward number, and when we are anticipating to complete everything. And maybe to suffice it to say that we also have a little bit of additional military veterans, that is phase 2, which the MEC has already approved, that we are looking at. And the non-bona fide military veterans in Umshwati, as when we were building these units in Umshwati, there were a lot of complaints around saying that we are bringing people to Umshwati, so they requested that we consider their military veterans in the area first. So that project, which is phase 2, is then dealing with that part. And then the Glenwood Q section as well, I have dealt with, and it in the Q section, I have also dealt with it in the LCC and Snating Chairperson. I have also dealt with, maybe suffices to say on slide 30, we also have the demands in this case that the community demanded the whole as well, which the Honorable MEC had approved through the MHOA in Umsunduzi. So the designs are underway with the Umsunduzi for them to top up on the money that was available in our MHOA and also to construct the whole, just besides the houses that they also demanded. Then Cobsville, I have also dealt with the Cobsville under Umpeme as a completed unit. We are just dealing with the transfers on this one. There is a legal process of transferring the land first from the department to the municipality. So this process is underway, which will allow the transfers of the sites to be dealt with. Then on the challenges that we are facing, and there is also the legal matter. in the financial constraints that we do not have sufficient money in our budget is going forward these years since the budget cuts we suffered in 2023, 2024. So the department hasn't been able to have enough budget to actually cater for all of them, or enough per year, if I may put it that way. Then the uncertainty of the Aloe Ridge. There are relevant parties that are dealing with this matter, and the matter is in court. There are beneficiaries who are now kind of refusing just to give keys back, and the MEC spoke to this one. Communities also not accepting military veterans closer to them, which there is a NIMBY approach around the military veterans. The issues that are related to lack of infrastructure around the municipalities or the land that we get, and therefore we need to, as the department, to install services. Hence, we are doing in it in the LC and all these other projects that I have spoken to. The liquidation process is underway. The liquidation has actually been, the legal matter is that we have the 260 flats where the liquidator has then liquidated the stock and has given the final liquidation through the court, through the High Court. And there was 100 million rands that was made available for this part, and that we dealt with, and that money was used to pay for other areas because the Msunduzi had no agreement in order to allow the rates clearance certificates to be waived so that this can be effected, and therefore the 100 million had to be used in other projects so that the money is not lost through the people of KwaZulu-Natal. So it will be used for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. And there were subsequent, the order was granted for the liquidation, which on the meeting that was held in the 19th of January, and the liquidator has then indicated that they are they have requested that they advertise the matter, and there was no tenderer that was responsive, and therefore they will be re-advertising the Aloe Ridge for private buyers to buy. Unfortunately, they are saying the intention now, according to the liquidator, is to include the Signal Hill, Acacia Park, as part of the debt collection that is required, and so therefore the problem might actually be bigger than what it is. So the municipality, the department has written a letter to the municipality indicating the issue that will be dire if someone buys this stock. They may demand that we evict the people there faster, and therefore the department and the municipality will be forced to stop or stall all other projects and then concentrate on building houses for the people of who are stuck in Aloe Ridge. The company that is dealing with the matter is Hayes and Scotts, who are the attorneys that are responsible with the liquidator, and they are dealing with the matter together. And our department has also been involved. The bid actually closed in March 31, 2026. As I have said, that there was no responsive bid, and therefore they will be looking at re-advertising the tender. I think, Chairperson, I have also dealt with a little bit in terms of the budget that is hampering the project, and should there be this be awarded to somebody who is private and will demand that the court evict all the people, and then the department and the municipality will be forced to provide permanent units, and therefore the budgeting will then be skewed because we will be forced to stop other projects in the municipality and concentrate in the intervention of Aloe Ridge. That is my submission, Chairperson. I thank you and the members.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Maybe before we hand over back to the Chairperson, I would like to elevate some issues for members to give more clarity. On Aloe Ridge, Mr. Makakula said something about Signal Hill as well as Acacia social housing. The issue there, those three social housing projects which are within Umsunduzi are managed by one entity, Capital City. So now that Capital City has been liquidated, ideally it doesn't have capacity to manage the other two. So that is why they are citing a possibility of selling both Signal Hill as well as Acacia. But at this point in time, they have advertised for Aloe Ridge only. So I wanted to give clarity to that issue. What then we have done for the committee, we have presented our plan that we had even before the matter of liquidation in terms of providing a permanent solution to those invaders from Aloe Ridge. That is why we have presented projects, even progress report on those projects that were meant to house those invaders from Aloe Ridge. Secondly, Chair, on blocked projects, I want to elevate at this issue. We will remain with only 8 as we are unblocking 8 projects. But these 8 projects that will remain blocked, they will need intervention of district municipalities or water authorities. So they may take longer than expected because it is beyond our control, because issue there is bulk water. That is why they are blocked. What then we're intending to do as a department, we're intending to do local inspection on Ngojana, a housing project, as well as Mbazwana, because on Ngojana, we are left with 88 units, and the land is invaded. There may be a possibility of closing that project instead of unblocking, but we'll come back and report it to the committee. On Ngojana, on Mbazwana, beneficiaries are reluctant to take ownership of houses or build houses there. We are going to do local inspection as well. We'll come back and report it to the committee. So the point that I wanted to elevate is that we should not expect a quick turnaround on these 8 projects as they are beyond our control. Then on the first report, Chair, on overall projects of the municipality of the department, I just want to elevate or give importance of these issues. The department has achieved these targets for the first time in history. Military veterans, we have never achieved that target before. Service sites, we have never achieved that target before. First home finance, we have never achieved that target. Now, on title deeds, we used to hover around 50%, but this time it was 88%. 88%. We short of 298 title deeds. So meaning our turnaround strategy on title deeds is working, because we have moved from around 50% to 88%. But the problem that we have on title deeds is about houses that were built before 2014. In 2014, government introduced the Spluma. Spluma came with new requirements for a title deed to be registered. Now, if you wanted to register a title deed, Surveyor General would want you then to go back and do planning matters instead of registering a title deed. So that's the first issue. The second one is people were given houses. We have a number of title deeds which we cannot hand over to beneficiaries because they sold those houses. If you wanted to go there to hand over title deeds, you no longer find a beneficiary who was given that house. So as a department, we're intending to start a process of advertising to say, come forward so that we can give you a title deed and you must take ownership of your house. If they don't do so, law allows us a department to regularize those people who have taken over those houses. So we're dealing with that issue, Chair. Lastly, Chair, we are intending to build all military veterans' houses by 2029. So that is our intention as a department. When the term ends, this term, we wanted to have submitted or built all houses for military veterans as a department. I wanted to elevate those issues, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Makakula, HOD, for the reports. Honorable members, we are now on discussion. We've received quite a number of reports, and I do invite the honorable members to engage the department. I will note hands for comments and questions on the presentation. I note the Honorable Masigo, Honorable Mike, Honorable Leggett, Honorable Mamkwanyan. I will be the last one.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and one must firstly appreciate the remarks from the MEC, but also the presentations that we have received as an update on all the projects that we have been requesting for over time. Chair, I will start with the remarks from the MEC and appreciate Honorable MEC and HOD the handing over ceremony that we saw over the last few days. And HOD, I was sitting watching the TV and asking myself, Uguti, you know, the implementation of that project, the handing over of those houses in Umshwati has taught us a number of things. One which says to us that when the three spheres of government work well, there's a lot to appreciate, and we can actually see delivery taking place. MEC has mentioned that the local government was able to, in that instance in Umshwati, offer the land, but also the bulk infrastructure that has always been missing or has been a missing key in the implementation of most of the projects. And we are also seeing that in the stalled and blocked project, that the missing link in all of this is the role of local government and what they should be delivering to assist in the delivery of houses. So if we could replicate what we saw happening in Umshwati, I think we will move faster in ensuring that we are able to unblock the blocked projects, but also we are able to deliver faster in what we ought to be delivering. So we appreciate those remarks, MEC, but we also appreciate seeing local government work best, but also seeing defense being present in that, in the oversight, Honorable Chairperson, that we had in Jozini. We found reports or heard reports that sometimes it takes longer in the delivery of the houses for military veterans because of the assessment process and the profiling which is done by defense. So it was quite a pleasant moment to see that, but it was heartwarming also to see the responses of the communities in what government is delivering. I think HOD, if we can have, and MEC, more of those, they will be indeed a good story to tell. In terms of the presentations, Honorable Chairperson, the first one on the projects for human settlements, HOD, we seriously, honestly appreciate the performance of the department. We see that you have overperformed in terms of the actual verification which is given in relation to your target. I think, Chairperson, most of the time, the noise around the stalled and the blocked projects will cloud our view on the actual projects that are being completed and delivered. So if we are seeing here that you can overachieve on your set targets for a financial year, HOD, I think that must be commended. But I'm of the view that sometimes we, as a department, set ourselves up for failure in this way. You have a project for a delivery of 1,000 houses, but in a financial year, the department knows that it can only deliver 200. When we launch the project, we will announce to the community that we are delivering 1,000 houses, or the project is for 1,000. But in terms of the budget that we have for that one financial year, it's 200. So I always, HOD, ask myself, Uguti, if you can only deliver low 200 in that, or 100 in that financial year, why don't you just make a pronouncement of that 200 and leave others to be announced as and when the budget is available? The question that I have would be on slide 7 of that presentation. And when we say that we have delivered, especially on the units, for me, is it a delivery that says that you've only built the houses, or is it the final where they have taken, or the recipients have taken, the actual occupation of those houses? So I want to check especially on that one target that speaks to the units that have been delivered. Are we speaking about the final occupation of the house? And then in terms of the list of the projects which are under implementation, we are having sites which will project 0, the units project 0, the title deed project 0, but there has been a budget that has been allocated. I think I'm just confused on that one. What does it mean if we have 0, 0, 0, but there has been a project that has been a budget that has been allocated? In terms of Thubalethu, I think we must also appreciate the progress that has been done. Safe to say that we will continue to monitor this until the finalization of the actual projects. For stalled projects, I had a question, but I think HOD, you were able to answer it, because it was around the issue that when we said, for instance, last year, November, we had a time frame of the 26th of March, and the status was that the MEC had approved for reassessment, and it was like that for most of them. But I see that there has been a new date that has also now been introduced. For instance, if you can go to the first project, KwaZulu-Natal, maybe let's take it from this side, the one from Chief Albert Luthuli. On the presentation that we received in November, we had a time frame of the 26th of March alone. And the status was as it is currently reported today. But there's now a new date of the 26th of August that has been introduced. So for me, is it saying that by then it means that the SCM processes would have taken place and have been completed, and an implementing agent appointed? That's the question that I have. I want to then go to the Rocky Ridge, Rocky Park project, and say, I don't know what can be done, HOD, but for me the progress is too slow. Again, I'm referring to the November meeting, Chairperson, where it was said that the profiling, or the court had granted for profiling of invaders to take place. If we have identified that there is a problem with the occupants and it's not the rightful occupants, for me, the sooner the better for the action that has been granted by the court to take place, so that we are fully, informed as to who these individuals are. So if by today, from November, we are still sitting here and reporting the same, then it means that there is a problem, and we need to attend to it differently than how we have been treating this project and the court order. How far is the profiling? Who's responsible for this profiling? Because for me, it means that it's not done if we're still sitting here reporting that we are still profiling those invaders. So I think we need to move fast on the action that needs to be taken so that we will be able to get some positive outcomes from this project. Lastly, I'm happy, HOD, with what has been reported in saying that we will no longer be launching new projects until such time that we are able to complete what we have. Let us deal with what we have and finish it so that we can move to new projects that will be funded accordingly and the money will be spent accordingly. But the last one is in terms of these projects. We are happy with the progress, HOD, but still nothing is being said around the issue of those implementing agents who have either abandoned the sites, but also the recovery of funds where funds have been misused by the very same implementing agents and service providers who have abandoned the sites. I think we need to read this report hand in hand, because here there are some projects that have been abandoned and where service providers have misused the funds. And what are we saying then about those service providers and the recovery of those funds? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Tanisha.
Thank you, Chair. Ngibingelele nethimba lakho, ngibingelele HOD nethimba lakhe. Okwami kuzoba kuncane kakhulu. Chairperson, I just want to find out here the Thubalethu project. Well, one must thank the MEC and his team and HOD for their report. However, the report of Thubalethu seem not to be matching with what is happening on site. The report looks like there is a progress, but as a person that normally drives on that road, I think one needs to really get the proper explanation, or how do you differentiate the phases? Because my concern is that there is one phase that is not moving at all on the R66 road. And that's where my concern is. And that same project, it's more than 10 years, 12 years now. From last year, we've been asking about this. And the reports, every now and then, it looks like there's an improvement. But on the actual fact, when you go there, there's no improvement. Everything is on a standstill. So I would love to know, maybe on phases, which one is moving, because I drive there almost every day. And secondly, when we go to these projects for human settlement, maybe one needs to understand how did you categorize it. But where I'm going, Chairperson, is that last year we went to Chonjaneni municipality, where there was a lot of municipalities that they came to present, namely Ingcugce, Umfolozi. And I see there's projects that are mentioned here. I was under impression that today we will get reports, because there was a lot of gaps that were identified on most of those municipalities. Now, these projects, some of them you have identified the Ingcugce, Umfolozi. Now, I'm not too sure whether these are new projects. If these are new projects, what happened to the old ones? Because we had about 10 municipalities that were there. Maybe only 3 presented something that was proper. And the other ones, they had to come back to us to give us the proper reports. So I'm concerned a bit with these reports, the way it is now. It looks like we're not going to get to understand clearly what is happening at Ingcugce. The whole of Ingcugce, they had a lot of gaps. And here they are. Can you explain that to us? How far are we? I think you'll remember when we were at Melmoth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. The Honorable Lijet.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the department for the presentation. My question is the 261 units at Aloe Ridge that were invaded. I would like to know how it actually reached that point, because it seems that housing projects across the province are plagued by these similar sorts of issues, where the incorrect recipients receive the houses or they are illegally invaded. So it does seem like a recurrent issue. And I wonder that since the department has experienced this, I would say ad nauseum, has there not been a strategy or method adopted to prevent this sort of challenge from recurring? Because it obviously does put these projects on hold, and then the rightful beneficiaries often have to suffer even longer after waiting for years and years for houses. So that's the first thing. Then the presenters did make mention of the fact that there was an objection from the community that if there was going to be housing for the MK veterans, there also needed to be accommodation for community members. What list was used to determine which community members would receive housing in that area? And I do know that often the ward councillors might have a housing list, for example, is an alternative housing list being used? I just want to understand what checks and balances there are to ensure that there is a fair allocation, that there's transparency and accountability around that. And then the last issue, and I think the Honourable Masiko also touched on this, is the coordination between local government and district government and province and national, for example, when it comes to housing projects and the delivery of bulk infrastructure. So you often see, for example, the province has delivered on its mandate, but now there isn't an accompanying bulk infrastructure to meet the project. Now, isn't there an intergovernmental forum that is meant to, I think, facilitate this sort of engagement between the different spheres of government so that we don't constantly, as I say, find the same issue recurring? And could perhaps the department speak to that? Because unless we start to address these ubiquitous issues that seem to pop out all the time, I think history is just destined to repeat itself. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mgonyan.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to you, to my colleagues, officials, this afternoon. So, Chairperson, I just want to welcome the presentation that was done by the department this afternoon, but I'm still not happy about Thubalethu. Thubalethu has been there for some years, and even the houses are falling now. When the MEC giving us a report about Thubalethu, I don't know whether I hear him well, because he talks about no roads, no water, no electricity. And he said the burden is with the municipality. Now I just want to check, who is supposed to do this thing if they say the budget, the burden is with the municipality, because the department is there to complete the work. The report was done before about the Thubalethu, and we have received a good report that everything is in order now. And the other thing, Chairperson, let's come to the houses that were sold out. I want to check to the department and the municipalities that what happened to those beneficiaries who sold out the houses, because it's a department project, that one. About the seller and the buyer, what are they doing about it? Because it's well understood that it's a crime to sell the department's houses. There's those houses that have been given to the beneficiaries. But now, since they're selling the houses, what are they doing about it? That is not allowed. And about the number of veterans, I don't know whether Umshwati or some other municipality that they did the houses for the veterans, but the number now is added. Do they have enough budget to add those veterans on top of the one they've been having before to bid for them. Thank you, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much, honourable members, for those questions. I think personally, I will afford myself enough time to analyze and study these reports, given that we received them today, and they are quite lengthy and complex. So probably in the next portfolio, one will have more input. But just one clarity that I seek, HOD. Under the blocked, stalled projects, I just needed clarity around Ilembe. You mentioned quite a number of projects that are under procurement. And I wanted clarity whether the procurement is with the department or with the municipality. And probably I'll follow up after that. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Do you want
Can
us
I
to
start?
respond to this?
Can I start, Honorable Chair?
Honorable MSc, you can start by raising your hand on the platform. Yes, Honorable MSc, please go ahead.
Ngiyayisaba le nyanga oyihambile exabanisa nami mfowethu. Kulungile. Because I want to outline principles. In my presentation, I was highlighting on the issue of the project that had bottlenecked and halted project. And I was not specific on the issue that these are the causal effect. Let me go to Thubalethu, for instance, because we have not highlighted almost all the component for board members so that they could understand well. Thubalethu, you've got two projects. The one that is visible on the road. If you're going toward Lund, is on the right. If you're coming from then, it's on the left. There are units that are not visible on the roads, which we've already finalized the stormwater with the municipality and finished that phase, which I must highlight it because the understanding is that it is what you can only see when it comes to Thubalethu. We were referring to historical, the source of water. The project was finished in terms of planning and executed without the water in a source in the process. And we've met with the district and Mtonjane municipality. We contributed by even advancing the bulk infrastructure there. So I think we must highlight those principles, Chair. We're working well with the municipality, as I was highlighting that you might find that in the past, because there was no splume, and even indicated that we might have been wronged in some instances by executing unit where you find that there is no proper coordination. Now we are currently called human settlements because we are duty bound that identify and do almost all the survey processes and build around or create environment for amenities. There must be a school, there must be a crash, and all those things adjacent or around in that area where you build, which is why the issue of water, electricity, and roads. Department of Transport started the process there because we lead both departments. There are roads that have been designed and built in that Thubalethu project. So we are saying that it's going well because we are in that process. Unfortunately, for the issue of water, which the authority is the district, it has taken some time because they are currently busy with the reservoir, but that is not closer to that area, which is why we also contributed with the process of boreholes. So that is the reality and the status quo of a Thubalethu, and we don't want to claim any easy victories. We are saying that we are on the ground doing all what is humanly possible because it has taken too long. That is what we're currently saying about that process. Honorable Legend is suggesting that the beneficiary list might have been fixed. And she even said that how do we balance that not only the MK are benefiting. The DMV is responsible for all the list. Let's be practical with Umshwatu, for instance. In that day, there were 3 veterans that were benefiting in the process. And out of those, there was one from Zanla, which is for Azania, and there was one from APLA, which comes from PAC. Then there was one from ANC, MK, Kirill, in that manner, because the beneficiary list is full of the entire process according to the specification of government or the framework, that even the former SNDF are benefiting in these processes. So it does not mean that all the time we always focus. If you could just go to Cobbsville, for instance, even in the Aloe Ridge, you'll find that it is composed of all those forces or former armed forces that I was referring to. So the list is always monitored and it is transparent. It's something that you could always go track on the ground, because the list is what even the masters did after receiving the title deed. It's something that we could trace. We try by all means to balance the skewed equation. So I thought I must highlight those principles. And we are trying by all means through the HOD. We are fortunate that our HOD has been a municipal manager before. So through Salga, he's able, because he was elected as the president while serving for municipal managers. So he's able to communicate and consolidate an approach where they sit together in ensuring that we fast track all the process. I was just highlighting the principle as to why we have bottlenecks, as to why some of these projects are halted. But by all means, we are trying by all means to make sure that there is a progress. And if there is no progress, we still come across the problem, we come and bounce back or report back to the legislature through the portfolio committee. I just wanted to highlight those. Then the team is going to get into details of the specific details that were elevated by our members. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. HOT.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to thank Honorable MEC as well for those responses. Chair, starting with Honorable Masego, on performance, we must say in the country, KZN is giving the most number of units in the country. We are beating all provinces, while Gauteng may have more money in terms of the conditional grant, but in terms of delivery, at all times, we are delivering more than them, comparing, if we compare Gauteng and Western Cape in terms of numbers. Now, we are saying at the end of March, Honorable Masego, the department handed over 9,327 keys. So remember, we don't report on work in progress. We only report on completed units. So we gave people, 9,327 beneficiaries in KwaZulu-Natal took ownership of those houses. And in terms of performance, we moved from 62% of all years as the highest to 78%, but we are still confirming in terms of POE. But we are sitting at 78% last financial year in terms of our performance. Now, in terms of a project having a yield of 1,000, but we are building 200. Remember, when we are doing planning will then say, in this area, we are going to build 2,000 houses or 1,000 houses, right? But as a province, we decided to phase in per 300, like phase 1 will be 300. When we launch, we explain to communities that we are going to build first 300. When we complete first phase, we move to second phase. But what we are intending to do now in terms of our planning, we are saying, because we are too stretched, right? What we're intending to do, we go to an area, we deliver a phase of 300 houses. We move out of that area. We go to another area and deliver a phase instead of staying in one area and giving 1,000 houses, yet in another area they are suffering. So that is the plan. That is the plan moving forward. But MEC is intending to have road shows in all district municipalities from now onwards. So all these matters will be explained to all stakeholders so that they will understand in terms of our new strategy of delivering. So that is the plan moving forward. MEC has responded on Thubalethu. Just one addition to say that the reason why you are not seeing a movement on your right-hand side, it is because we are dealing with matters of a borehole. We don't want to finish those houses before we finish our boreholes installation, because if you do, people will take ownership of those houses, will invade them. So it was our intention in order to complete them. Upon completion of the installation of boreholes, when we have water, we'll then finish those houses so that we finish, we connect, people take ownership. So that is the issue. So while you are not seeing any progress, but work is being done on the right-hand side. On the issue of new dates, on projects that we could do as a department, but we could not start them in our last financial year, it was because they were not part of our business plan. Now that these projects, eight of them are part of our business plan, we have then started procurement because we could not start procurement if they were not part of our business plan. So in terms of a project readiness, so the movement were caused by that issue, but these new dates means that there will be service providers on the ground doing the work. In terms of Rocky Park, yes, we agree there is a slow movement, but what is happening there? The land is not owned by the department. So it is the municipality that has jurisdiction in terms of that land. So we are assisting the municipalities at department. Even the application of eviction order, it was done by the municipality because they are the owners of that land. But we agree, there is a slow pace. We are working with the municipality. Maybe when we come back next time, we will then report better on the issue. We note it. On new projects, yes, we are not starting any new project because we want to start what we have started. In fact, we have a campaign as a department. We are saying, taking pride of finishing what we have started campaign. So we are having that campaign. So part of the MEC's road shows, we are going to explain to people that we have a number of projects that have completed planning, but we are not going to start those projects because we want to finish what we have started as a department. In terms of implementing agents that have abandoned, firstly, we did not pay them for what they didn't do. So we are not following any implementing agent in terms of, because we didn't pay them for what they didn't do. We terminated them, but we have said in this portfolio, as a department, we will no longer come to you and say we are not performing because of implementing agent, because we employed them. We must terminate if they don't perform. So we will never come to you and say, no, we cannot perform because of them. So that is what we are saying. So I think we have explained Thubalethu issue. Okay, let me then raise this issue on meeting that we had at Mthonjaneni, right? Remember, what we are presenting as a department, we are presenting projects that are part of our business plan because we are not allowed or we are not going to implement any project that is not part of our business plan. It may happen that in terms of the municipality, they raised issues about the projects that were part of planning. That is why, in terms of our roadshows, we are going to explain to them to say those projects which have completed planning, which are ready for tranche 2, we are not going to implement them because our intention is to finish what we have started. So we have presented to what we are going to present as a department. Now, in terms of invasion, I must say, the Aloe Ridge invasion took place in 2018. 2018. To date, we don't have new invasion. So it's something that happened in 2018, meaning as a department, we have a strategy to manage invasion. How we manage it? We complete a house, we hand over a key. We don't wait. When an HPRC gives us go ahead in terms of the completion of a house, we just hand over a key to a beneficiary. So we no longer have a problem. This happened because they invaded a social housing. So it's not something that happens now and then. 2018, we no longer have that problem because we have a strategy that is working in terms of preventing those the occurrence of those problems. On criteria, when we are building houses for military veterans, what is happening here? People of Umsunduzi forget that these invaders are invaders of Umsunduzi. When you say to them, I want to build 30 houses for invaders, they say to you, before, if you want to build 20, build 20 for us, right? So it's something that we are working on because what it means, therefore, instead of building 20 for invaders, you end up building 10 because you are building houses for people who are not part of invaders or even military veterans. So we are engaging people of Umsunduzi. Unfortunately, this is done by even councillors. They do it. But what they do, they take people from their list. People are waiting for houses and say we are prioritizing these people for them to get houses. But on our side, it kills us because we do not achieve what we are intending to achieve. Yeah. Then the team will then respond on matters which I didn't respond to. But I must say on Chairperson's comment in terms of reports that he will get time. I must say, last time we came to Portfolio Committee, we reported on 46 projects that were reported in 2024. We gave account on each project as we are having 16 now. We are happy that in our next portfolio we'll be in a position to respond to other questions that may arise from reports that were presented today. Through Chair, the team will add, Mr. Makakula.
Thank you very much. Once again, HOD and the members. The first question that maybe I need to take is that one on the list of projects with 00, but there is money. The report includes the projects that I had planning, and there are slides where I am referring to professional fees. So those are professional fees for projects that I had planning. So those don't yield sites, units or transfers at this point in time. There is just budget which is for paying for EIA and other reports which are then assisting the SPLUMA approval. So that is the first one. I think on there is a question on the procurement on Ilembe projects. There are two procurements. There are two procuring institutions here. There is two projects, which is priority 5, Groundville priority 5 and priority 2. The municipality is to appoint the contractor. There is an existing implementing agent. They complained with the funding that in terms of what is a maximum that we can pay, service providers have not been taking over. So therefore they requested that the municipality procures the contractor to take those projects. So therefore, the other projects, all of them, Altonville and etc., the department will be procuring the database. The panel is just being finalized, and in August we believe that the panel would have been finalized, and then the procurement would have been then undertaken. So about 6 of those projects the department will be procuring. Then there is also a question on Ingcugce projects or the gaps that were identified. Chair, maybe we can report maybe to be given specifics of those so that we can provide a proper report dealing with Ingcugce and those challenges that were identified. I may have missed them in the previous reports that were discussed. So we are prepared to provide clarity on those projects. The list that we have just provided is not necessarily new projects, but it is projects that are in a system. Others are transversing from the previous financial years to actually build human or houses so far. Then the coordination, I think the department, the MSc has also indicated that we now have the DDM model. We find it is better when we come together under the DDM model and then say these are the projects that we earmark for delivery, and then everyone contributes and under one roof. Houses that are sold, I think the HOD has touched on it. What happens most of the time, honorable members, is that these houses are sold informally. If we find an informal sale, we deal with it in terms of the law. But what has happened is that most of the time, you will find that a house has been handed over to the beneficiary. It has a contractual period of 8 years, which is actually attached to the title deed, individual title deed, and that beneficiary cannot sell the house without giving the house back to the department or requesting permission from the department. But what you will find most of the time is informal sales, not what is actually given formally by the beneficiaries. The phase 2s, the budget, I think there is a query about the budget. We do plan for projects for the military veterans, like the HOD has said. We want to finish all these projects within the next 2 years. So once we start with them, with the approvals, this is also part of planning to allow the budgeting period for the next financial year to take place, because without the approvals as well, you cannot have the project in the next business plan if it is not approved and if it is not contracted. So those are just some of the teething issues that relate to planning for the project to be in the business plan. I think, Chair, I will stop there for now. I think the issue of Thubalethu has been covered in detail. I think I'll stop there, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I nearly said Honorable Makakula. What are you receiving now? Honorable MEC. Honorable Makakula is receiving, yeah. Honorable. No, thank you. Thank you so much, colleagues, for the responses. Are there any follow-ups or any other comments before we wrap up for the day? There seems to be none. Thank you so much, HOD and your colleagues, for the reports. And thank you so much, MEC Tombeni, for staying the course of the meeting and your opening remarks as well as your responses and contributions. They are always appreciated. And we are happy to see progress. As reported, HOD will continue to then play our oversight role as a committee to address any challenges and also provide support where we must. That being said, I therefore wish to bring this meeting to a close. Babu Mdluli, is there any outstanding matter before we close? Okay. Monica, we good? Okay. Thank you so much, honorable members and colleagues, for attending our portfolio and our guests in the form of alternates. Thank you so much, Bab Sangwe. The meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc.